let's get something straight. If they like your camera, they're gonna take your camera. But let's not make it super easy for them, shall we? Hey guys, Omar here, and today we are gonna talk a little bit about reducing the chances of getting your camera stolen, and if it gets stolen, what you could do, and also reducing the chances of losing it. Now let's start with assessing the loss, okay? You have to think about, if you lost the camera, how devastating will it be? For example, this Nikon Z8 cost about $4,000, and this D700 from many years ago, 2008, cost about $300 to $400. This one, no big deal. This one, a bigger deal. So understanding how big a loss it is or how little loss it is will help you determine how many steps of these you need to take. Now, some basics first. A thief will see this as camera. I'm not sure how many thieves are, in tune with the different levels of what cameras cost, but for them it's camera, and camera is valuable. Now, the thing they're assessing more than your brand of camera or what, model year it is you. And they've done studies with thieves, ex-thieves, about someone's muggability. And you actually are the target, not so much your camera. They just know they can actually mug you. And also the usual travel tips, like the bags you're wearing, don't have your wallet in your back pocket, maybe have a money bag of some kind, hidden down your crotch, that kind of stuff. So yeah, okay. So they're not judging your camera, they're judging you. Some basic rules too about your camera and your camera bag. The first rule is it's always with you at all times. What I mean by this, I've been a victim of this, is I've left stuff in a trunk. And what I didn't know in my 20s is that the thieves were watching me put the bag in the trunk. So they just popped the window, popped the trunk, took the bag. Stupid. Hopefully I'm talking to someone out there that won't make the same mistake I made. So don't ever leave anything in a trunk or in a car. Those are basics. If you feel that it's a pain to take your bag with you, that means your gear is too big. That means you need to reduce the size of your gear so that it's always with you, okay? Now, when the bag is with you, it is with you. It is not in an overhead compartment. It is not in a luggage compartment. It is clipped to you. This may be paranoia, but remember, assess the value of your gear. If you have all your best gear and tens of thousands of dollars, make sure that if you doze off on trains, that you have the bag with you, under you, and physically clipped to you, which is something I do as well. In my mind, I can envision a thief sizing me up, seeing the bag, and when the next stop comes, they're ready to pull it and run out before the doors close, but they're gonna take me with them. By the way, as an aside, all this also depends on where you're going, what city you're going to, and the chances of getting mugged or things stolen. But I would venture to guess that if someone doesn't know anything about cameras and they're looking at these two, they probably would try to grab the fat, big, valuable camera. But the reality is this little Ricoh GR is about $1,000, and I think this cost me 350 bucks, this little 5D Mark II or III. So just know that sometimes smaller cameras definitely, give off the vibe of being less valuable. This does take pretty good pictures. I prefer cameras, but if you are very nervous on a certain walk or trip, just use your phone. Just use your phone for photography and kind of go a little stress-free that day. We should also mention you should have a backup camera. I did that one time where I went on a trip only with the Fujifilm X-T20, and it fell and broke, and I actually didn't have anything else. So it's always nice to have maybe a cheaper, smaller camera in case something happens with your main one, especially if you're on a really long trip. Now there's value, like money value, and there's also sentimental value. For example, this camera, the X Pro 2, is a camera I always wanted to own when it first came out, but I couldn't afford it. And with my business and photography and the YouTube, I was able to find a used one. I made a video about this camera, but I would not take this on a trip where I could lose it. I don't think I would want to go through that trauma. So some cameras, if it's like your old grandfather's Leica, I would not go into the city with it. Okay, so sentimental value shouldn't be underestimated as far as thievability goes. All right, let's talk about bags. Let's start with no bag. I think no bag is a good way to go. Like for example, when I go out the Ricoh GR, a lot of times I'll just shoot street photography with the little Ricoh GR in a hoodie pocket. I always have the wrist strap on, by the way, in case there's a grabber out there. And, oh, by the way, don't risk your life for a camera. If they want to grab it, I want my hand. I don't want it chopped off. You can have it, okay? Just rip it off, take it, it's all good. So we probably should have started the video with that. None of these cameras, even the X Pro 2, none of them are worth your life. Well, maybe the X Pro 2. So we got no bag, we got the fanny pack way. Fanny pack is great for smaller camera systems. And then you have camera bags that don't look like camera bags, like this little Think Tank retrospective line. They kind of look like just, you know, messenger bag kind of dudes. And then if you're really stealthy, if you really want to keep them on their toes, I have a new product line coming out. It's called Fourth Grade Kid. That's right. This is a fantastic place to put your very expensive 600mm lens, maybe, your Z8, your Canon R1. You can put that in here, and this probably, make sure you clip those, loop those zippers, but this is less of a target. You can actually put, there are some camera companies that sell cubes. You can disguise a regular old JanSport backpack and make it your own if you really want to keep them on their toes and not be a target. Just have a junky old backpack full of $20,000 worth of gear. Now you could kind of disguise your cameras a little bit. This is a beater camera anyway, a 5D Mark II. But I took the logos off it in case someone thinks it's a Canon R5 that's $5,000, $6,000. This was a couple of $100, but I like to disguise it anyway so that, again, less of a target, people don't know what it is. Although a thief could think, you know, oh, they're hiding their logo, must be a Leica. Now for cameras that are a little bit more valuable, like this Nikon Z8, I took with me to Costa Rica to shoot the birds. This would have been a big loss. So there's a couple of things you can do. The first one is make sure that your gear is insured. So if you lose it, at least you can recoup some of it. You can replace the camera. That's a little bit more, a little peace of mind there. Or maybe just insurance for that trip you're taking. See what's covered and go in that direction. That way you could be a little less stressed when you go out. Now, if it is taken and you have insurance, well, you just lost all your photos. So what you should do while you're traveling is maybe have some kind of auto transfer of the photos onto your phone in case the camera is completely taken. And then in the memory card, put a little sign for the thieves that says, you. Now when I travel, I always have AirTags in my bags, but I've never thought about putting AirTags on my camera until I watched a great video by Benj. I'll link it up below. He confronted the people that stole this stuff. So as soon as I saw that video, I bought this little small rig plate right here, which holds an AirTag. Now there's a couple of things you should know about AirTags. Number one is they're not foolproof, but again, we're trying to minimize our chances here. So the first thing is that if someone steals your camera and it has an AirTag on it, or they steal your bag and the bag has an AirTag in it, well, Apple will still, if the person has an iPhone, Apple will notify the person that there's an AirTag nearby. And the person can play a sound to find it. So theoretically, if the thief has an iPhone, then they can find your AirTag and destroy it or get rid of it, right? But again, we're trying to reduce our chances. So we're hoping they're, you know, don't have a phone. Maybe only they have a flip phone. Or maybe it wasn't stolen. Maybe you left it behind at the coffee shop like an idiot, but you can't remember if it's the train or the coffee shop. At least you can find it. Okay, so it's not always thievery. But the AirTag on the camera for a more expensive camera like this, I love that idea. The other thing I did was, there's a hack on the AirTags. By the way, I broke this one. Do it at your own risk. But you can remove the speaker from the AirTag. The person will still get a notification that there's an AirTag nearby, but when they try to play the sound, there will be no sound because you removed the speaker from the AirTag. Now, I'm not sure if the thieves know that this plate will have the AirTag, but you can have an AirTag in the bag and have an AirTag on the camera. That way, that could buy you a little bit of time, by the way. And I've seen a couple of videos where the AirTag notification doesn't come on right away. So you might just at least have a chance of getting your stuff back, or at least knowing where it is. Now, if you're really creative, you can make it super tough on the thieves by putting this like in the stitching. You could put it really deep in the bag. They'd have to like tear your bag apart. It doesn't make a sound. And at some point, if you're really, really good, they may just end up throwing your bag away or leaving your bag behind. And if they throw your bag away and start walking with your camera and they just realize that the camera also, they're just so confused. And then you come in, you swoop in with your karate. No, don't do that. So what'd they steal from you? Let's share horror stories below, shall we? All right, I'll see you guys next time.